Hey, it's Katie, and welcome back to my booktube channel. Today is Bookmas Day 14, which means it is my last Bookmas video and also my last video of 2020, which is crazy. But today I will be doing my 2020 wrap-up and my 2021 resolutions. So I will be just going through my Goodreads stats that they give you at the end of the year and talking about the kinds of things I want to do in 2021, basically. So I'm going to try to pop up a screen recording from my phone next to me so you guys can see my stats too. So hopefully that works out. All right, so I'm just going to try to pull up my Goodreads stats right now. But before I find those, I just wanted to let you guys know that my reading goal for this year was 30 books, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but I only got back into reading in May, and because it was still kind of new to me again, I wasn't sure how many books I'd read throughout the rest of the year, so I wanted to do something that seemed very manageable and wasn't too much pressure for me to do, so 30 books seemed pretty good, and that's what my goal was at the beginning of the year. Okay, now Goodreads has loaded, so let me screen record. Great. Okay. So it says my year in books for 2020. Also, since this is my first year back into reading, I haven't used this before, so I don't have any stats to compare it to. But for Bookmas next year, I plan on doing another video like this so we can compare this year's stats to next year's stats and see what happens. Okay. So first, I have read 69 books this year and 25,519 pages. That sounds like a lot. I'm really happy with that. I'm not sure if that's a lot of pages, but it sounds like a lot to me. But considering my reading goal was only 30, I'm really glad that I more than doubled that. I'm really proud of that. Also, I definitely challenged myself because once I realized I think reading is here to stay for me, obviously, with my booktube channel and everything, but once I realized I do still really love it, and I was getting books from the library, I was going to bookstores way more than I probably should have because I definitely bought a lot of books this year, but I definitely was challenging myself to see how many I could read because once I surpassed those 30 I initially wanted, I just tried to keep going. Okay, so the shortest book this year that I read was Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and Faith Erin Hicks. That was 209 pages. And the longest book I read this year was Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, which was 567 pages. Okay. My average book length in 2020 was 369 pages. That seems accurate. I feel like a lot of the books I read are between like 350 and 400 pages, so that definitely makes sense. That's a good amount of pages. I'm kind of happy with that. The most popular book that I read this year was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling, because 8,965,795 other people also shelved this book. That's a lot of people. And my least popular read this year was New Year's Kiss by Lee Matthews, which 808 people also shelved. That was one of the ones that I was really excited for. I think it was in my upcoming releases video that I put out in, I don't know, September, October, something like that. So I'm kind of surprised more people haven't heard of it, but it was honestly really cute, so you should definitely check it out if you haven't. My average rating for 2020 was 3.9 stars, which was honestly a little higher than I was expecting, but I did enjoy a lot of the books I read this year, so it does make sense. My highest rated book on Goodreads was Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, which is book 3 in the Infernal Devices series, if you don't know that, but definitely worth the read. I really enjoyed it. It was number 2 in my top 10 books of 2020, which was the last video I put out, and it's just amazing. I highly recommend it. So many plot twists, so many great characters, just a great read. My first review of the year was Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Oh, that's cute. It shows you all of the books. There's little book covers for all the books I read this year. Aw. Okay, my last review of the year. Sorry, I got a little distracted. My last review of the year was Anna Holidays by Christina Lauren, which I finished Christmas Eve. And those are the end of the Goodreads stats. It says I read 69 out of 30 books, which means I reached 230% of my reading goal, which is really crazy to me. Definitely more than I thought I would read. But those are the end of the stats. So now we will move on to my resolutions for next year. Since I definitely surpassed my goal this year for how many books to read, I want to challenge myself a little bit more. So I want to try to read 100 books next year. I think that's manageable for me. Also, because there's some big life things that are happening next year. Since I just graduated college, I'm going to have to move next year and start wedding planning now that I'm engaged and look for a different job in my field. So a lot of life things happening. So I want to make sure my reading goal is manageable for me, but also still challenging. So I think 100 books is a perfect number. So hopefully we can reach that. We'll see what happens. Another resolution I have is that I want to finish more of the series that I've started, because there's so many that I read just the first book in that I loved, like The Raven Boys. I loved that one, Red Queen, and Ember in the Ashes. So many great ones that I feel like I just read one book in the series, and I really want to make it a point to finish at least a couple of those next year. But I also want to try to focus more on new releases, because I feel like this year I was trying to kind of catch up to the rest of the booktube world, and I really wanted to read more books that are kind of booktube staples. So I was trying to catch up with what people have read the last few years. But I think what I'm going to try to do is just focus on the new releases and still pick up a couple older ones, but just try to enjoy the ones that are coming out, because I think that might be a little bit more fun for me. I also feel like a lot of the books I read this year were either romances or contemporaries or fantasy, so I'd like to kind of branch out next year and try out some different genres. I did read a couple thrillers this year, which I'd like to read some more of, because that genre kind of surprised me and I enjoy it a lot more than I expected to. So I'd like to read a couple more of those, and I did read a couple graphic novels that I really enjoyed, so I'd like to expand that and pick up some more of those, because those are always fun to read. And some of my resolutions when it comes to my booktube channel: now that Bookmas is ending, I won't be doing 3 videos a week anymore, but I will go to 2 videos a week instead of just the one I was doing before. That honestly sounded really confusing, so basically all that means is I will be posting videos twice a week in 2021, which I'm very excited about. I feel like that gives me more opportunities to do some different videos I didn't get a chance to do, because I'd like to try to do TBR videos and wrap-up videos for every month. I feel like that would be really helpful and help me kind of stay on track and focus on books that are a priority to me. So hopefully those go well. We'll see what happens. But those are definitely my main resolutions for my booktube channel. I really just want to have fun, keep reading all of these really great books, and hopefully meet some more of you guys and make some friends through booktube, because it just seems like such a great place. And I'm really glad that booktube was something I started in 2020, because it's making me really happy and I really enjoy it. Alright, so those are all of my 2020 reading stats and my 2021 resolutions. My next video will be my January TBR, which is a new type of video for me, but I am so excited to try it out. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and also make sure you click the notification bell so you know when I upload next. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in my next video. See you guys next year!